so bad. I believe he's the hardest working
Trap
basketball
media.
player in the NBA. So, but this is tough for me. But
We
Chris
talking
Paul would
NBA
be a
today.
better fit for the Lakers. I think for Chris, being able to play less minutes, play with another good ball handler, another playmaker, and LeBron James would be great.
So for some context, they talking about Chris Paul or Westbrook, who would be the better fit going to the Lakers? And obviously, we talking about who would be the better fit with LeBron. Now, this struck me because it's crazy how they shift these narratives or start pushing something a certain way. We got to stop this Chris Paul hate. That's one thing that's gonna stop today. We're gonna put some respect on Chris Paul, arguably pound for pound the best fighter to ever do it. The same way in boxing. Shout out to all my boxing family out there. The same way how a lot of y'all like to say, well, pound for pound, all time, Manny might still be over Floyd because this, and this, jumping 8 divisions. Well, what Chris Paul does in basketball is similar to jumping 8 divisions. The Oklahoma City Thunder wasn't supposed to make the playoffs last year. Everybody thought Chris Paul going to the Thunder was pretty much him getting ready to retire. Like, oh, this is the end of Chris Paul. He's going to a bad team. He's just getting ready to sail off in the sun, kind of like when Giannis signed to the Bucks for that long term deal and then go to a super team. Oh, he just doesn't want to win. The same way they said about Jimmy Butler when he signed a long term deal to Miami and ended up going to the finals. So a lot of these guys they never get corrected when they make like certain statements and stuff like that, or they start pushing these narratives. But that's why YouTube is so important. So Paul takes a Thunder team that's not supposed to make the playoffs to the fourth seed in the West. If you understand the East and the West, you understand it's like Bud fighting on top rank and Earl, Sean, Keith, and everybody else fighting on PVC. That's where the competition is. So let me see, where was the Thunder this year? So last year the Thunder were the fourth seed. This year the Thunder are 22-50, the second from last seed in the Western Conference. So whenever LeBron leads a team and the team falls, they'll never mention like the other stars left too or the other stars got injured or something like that. They'll just try to all paint it around LeBron. But with the Thunder, it was really just Chris Paul leaving. They even got some more pieces, and I mean Schroeder left too. Let me take that back. They got some more pieces, but Schroeder left too. But even with that, they went to the second worst from the fourth seed. That's never really mentioned. Then Chris Paul takes the son, who as good as Devin Booker is, never been to the playoffs, and we can't say because he's young in the West, because John Morant and John Morant is young in the West, and he has a young cast all around him, and they made it to the playoffs this year. So that killed that excuse. So he takes them not only to the playoffs for the first time, he takes them to the NBA Finals. So at 5'11", 6 feet, when you do something like that at 36 years old and you don't have your legs up under you in back-to-back seasons, just making it to the playoffs with these teams is the win. Getting to the finals and everything else is a bonus. He was in the MVP conversation. Devin Booker didn't make the All Star team originally. He made it because people got injured or COVID, and people had to drop out, and he ended up getting on the back vote. But it was Chris Paul that made the All Star team. It was Chris Paul that was in the MVP conversation. Chris Paul is the reason that these teams had success. It's a picture out there with all of the teams that get shifted, like the record the year before Paul and the year after, and it's all tremendously better. They almost beat Golden State, prime Golden State with Chris Paul, but Chris Paul pulled a hamstring, and that turned that series, and that got Golden State back to the finals. So watching this video, they're talking about who would be better for the Lakers. It's a no-brainer who would be better for the Lakers. LeBron would have another playmaker where he could sit out the game and him and Davis could run one way and LeBron and Davis could run one way. But you just pretty much swapping high IQ players and it would take a lot of pressure off Chris Paul because you couldn't just put the best defender on Paul because you got LeBron and Anthony Davis out there. So it would create a problem to where when Drew Holiday got on and again when you are older, you need speed to kind of get past these bigger defenders. Now, Paul was 6'8", 6'9", like LeBron. I could be a little bit more hard on him when they play this tight defense on him, but because he's short, 5'11", 6 foot, and he's old, it's gonna be a bit tougher. So the last game in the finals, he showed up. Devin Booker had a horrible shooting game, and DeAndre Ayton showed that he's just not built like that. He's not tough. He's not physical. He was missing easy blank layups. I mean, it was just a lot of breakdown from the young guys. It wasn't Chris Paul that lost that last game in the finals, and we know it's about the last game. You know, what do you do when it's all on the line, win or go home? And Chris Paul showed up. So watching this video, and for them to say, I think Chris Broussard said, like, if he goes to Peyton this narrative, he goes to the Lakers, it won't mean nothing like Peyton on the Heat. Peyton on the Heat wasn't nobody at that point in his career. Jason Kidd on the Mavs, he was cool, but he retired the next season and was coaching the Bucks. So what are you talking about? These guys weren't in MVP conversations, and these guys hadn't just took a team to the finals. So to even allude to that for Chris Broussard and everybody and Antonio Walker, Nick, all these guys going with this narrative that him going to the Lakers wouldn't mean nothing if you want to ring with the Lakers. It's just Chris Paul hate. So Paul, if you are considering that, don't listen to these guys, man. It's clear hate. It's clear hate.
Great for him. And then also, Chris has had an experience playing with a ball dominant guy. I think playing with James Harden, he learned how to play with a ball dominant guy. He's a better spotter, 3-point shooter than Russ, so he can fit into the offense that way where he still is going to be able to make threes. It's just a better fit. And then if
So
LeBron needs to
I
take
agree with all of this. All of this is concrete. It's on point. But let's kind of get to Nick to this who I want to get to. This where the hate. And surprisingly, I like Chris Broussard.
Respect to
But
Russell Westbrook, who I love, but his game just would not fit with LeBron's. LeBron only likes to kind of give up control of the ball to a guy that he feels is a smart decision maker. And Russ just isn't really that. I mean, Russ isn't going to make the wisest decisions with the basketball. So I could see that being a problem if he were playing there with LeBron. We know he doesn't really shoot the jumper that well. And Russ is better playing really up tempo. Even if he's in the half court, he's a lot of fun if it happened. The thing is, it's pretty unrealistic, not impossible. But
so now they're getting ready to get into the contrary reasons why shit happened now. I don't know. I'm a bit conflicted because I feel like he would be leaving 40 million on the table, but if you can secure 40 million in endorsements out there, like maybe you get with LeBron and be like, put me, I know I got State Farm, this and that. Maybe you go get that Mountain Dew deal. Maybe you go get a couple other relationships that Rich Paul and LeBron have. You utilize those to kind of make up whatever you leaving on the table.
We'll have to take a big time pay cut because I don't see the Suns doing a sign and trade for what the Lakers pieces are. So Chris would essentially have to give up a guaranteed $44 million to play for about $9.5 million for the Lakers. Yeah, he wants a ring. Does he want it that bad? I don't know. So I don't think it happens, but I would like to see it, and I'd certainly pick Chris over Russ.
All right, by the way, Broussard just can't quit the Nets. We are 34 hours removed from.
I'm trying to find a part where Chris Broussard was talking.
Outside media does. My issue, Broussard, is this. And it's
here we
probably
go. Here
unfair,
we go.
but I'm going to say it anyways.
Whoever this guy is, it's always one of these people that wants to bring down. I just seen a video today with Kevin Durant going at it with Bam in practice, and it was a white female reporter, or it was a white or Hispanic or white Hispanic, because we know it's like, why put that out? Why put that? This it's like they always want to put us at odds or knock something we got going. You always just get this hate for certain figures. Once you get to a certain level, they gotta find some way to break you down. But pay attention.
If you team up with LeBron and get a ring, that's LeBron's ring. I mean, you get a physical
Now,
ring,
mind you,
but like,
LeBron didn't get out the first round last year. Now, I can see if this was the year before when they had just won the ring. So, coming off a year where you put LeBron out in the first round, you went to the finals, and you was in the MVP conversation higher than LeBron. If you go there and do what you was doing with Phoenix, it's LeBron's ring. See, this is why nobody want. This is why other superstars hesitate to go play with LeBron, because if you win, it's all LeBron get the credit, and if you lose, it's your fault. So they already painting the narrative. If he goes, it's this could be some LeBron hate too for coming from this guy, because he doesn't want to see LeBron in position to win again. And mind you, I'm cool with a LeBronless finals, and evidently most people were, because the ratings were up 35%. So I get it, but you don't have to hate in this type of way.
like Dwight Howard's a champion. I'm happy for Dwight, but that's LeBron's ring. It's not like it's almost a different ring.
Dwight Howard hasn't been an all-star. Dwight Howard hasn't been in the MVP conversation. Dwight Howard is a bench player. That's no comparison to what Chris Paul is doing at his point in his career. So what is this guy talking about?
Give you a different ring. You can get it. You can get it. Giannis has got the big ring, and then if you win LeBron, you get it just a smaller. It's a silver ring. It's still very beautiful. So I just, it would be kind of weird, I think, if Chris Paul finally gets his ring and it's like, yes, I did it, the way Karl Malone wanted to do it when he joined the Lakers.
How is it the way Karl Malone was doing it when none of these guys were doing what Chris Paul is doing right now? I mean, now Karl Malone did with an MVP at 36, but he wasn't this impact player at this point. So no, that wasn't that.
Seems odd to me.
Wiles, I'm totally with you. And I was about to go there before I heard you say it. Look, it wouldn't be legacy changing if Chris won this ring with LeBron. Okay. It'd be great because obviously he wants to win and he would finally be a champion. And even though Nick and I have him in our top fives regardless, a lot of people don't. This would not, in many people's eyes, those who don't already have him ahead of John Stockton and Jason Kidd and maybe even Steve Nash and Walt Frazier and a few others, this winning a ring with LeBron wouldn't make them say, oh, Chris got a ring, Stockton didn't. This would be more akin to the Jason Kidd ring that he won in Dallas, the Gary Payton ring that he won in Miami. Those don't change their legacies because they were role players at that point. So I'm with you completely on that, Wiles. Nick, I do think Chris is smart enough to know, yeah, I'd have a better chance of winning it with the Lakers, but he plays a bigger role with the Suns. And finally, I got to say this. We know Chris is the president. We know he's the president.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to address. Pay attention to these narratives that a lot of these guys try to paint. This is total BS. There's no way Chris Paul would be a role player with the Lakers if he won. As we seen, they were saying Schroeder wasn't enough. Schroeder just didn't do anything. He didn't show up. A lot of these other guys didn't. So he would be a major piece to the championship. If not, it's not like Chris Paul couldn't win Finals MVP on the Lakers. It would be up in the air. We know LeBron's gonna be doing LeBron things, but a couple big games in the finals, along with everything else he's gonna bring, is gonna bring LeBron's assists down probably a little bit, because he's gonna have the ball in his hand and be playmaking. So a lot of what they will be doing outside of the rebounding is going to be on par. So it's not like it's not like you could say bet everything in your life that Chris Paul could win Finals MVP. You wouldn't do that, because it would be a possibility. He's still playing at a very high level, and he would have even less pressure on him than playing with the young Phoenix Suns, playing with veterans like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who you have to respect on the floor. So stop the disrespect of Chris Paul. He did his thing. took a team to the finals that had never won the playoffs, and took a team that's now 22-56, a season after him leaving, to the 4th seed in the Western Conference. Put some respect on Chris Paul. Trap Media, like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Kendrick the GOAT and everybody else who's been tuning in, supporting the movement.